many times can I apologize, man? I mean, Leo was really sorry. She's tough on old Leo.
Welcome to the Will and Grace After Party. I'm Kristin Dos Santos, and I am joined by the biggest Will and Grace fans you've ever seen. Behold, the wonder. We just watched the second episode, and we're all wearing our full-body compression suits. You guys feeling good? Yeah, looking good. Now, before we talk about this very funny episode, we have a special treat for you. Connick Jr., who played Grace's cheating ex-husband Leo, sat down to talk with us when he returned for next week's episode. Take a look.
When I heard Will and Grace was coming back, I was thrilled. And the first thing I saw was the campaign YouTube video that they did, and I might be a little dim, but I had to watch it 3 times because there's no way they could have done that recently, but because the set was exactly the same, and even more impressive, they all looked exactly the same.
Why does everything in there look 10 years old?
I guess the person that changed the most outside of the physical appearance was probably Debra, because her son is 13 now, and she really has grown into this incredible mother, which is something that I didn't really see the last time I was here, so that was really beautiful to see. I think about my life since Will and Grace went off the air, and it's been 11 years, and let's see, I had 3 very young daughters then. One was about 10, one was 9, and one was 3 or 4. Now I have a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And I've been with my wife now for 27 years, and so much has changed. You know, I was a judge on American Idol. I made a bunch of records. I toured a lot. I made a bunch of movies. Now I'm the host of my own syndicated daytime show, Harry. So a lot's changed for me. But the good news is that the things that were important to me then have not changed at all. My oldest 2 daughters were here. They were really young though, so I'm not sure how much they remember about being on the set. But my youngest daughter, Charlotte, who is now 15, who was too young to have watched the show before, is sort of seeing it for the first time, and it's really fascinating to see, because what was funny about Will and Grace then is still really funny now. One of the things that's, I think, typical of Will and Grace is the amount of references they make to pop culture. The references that are made now are sort of right in her wheelhouse, and so it's really interesting to see that great writing and great acting sort of withstands the test of time, because they put the same group of people back together, and it's just as good as it was before. So Charlotte, my youngest, really likes it. As Harry, Grace has no bad qualities. As Leo, how many times can I apologize, man? I mean, Leo was really sorry, and they got married again, and she's tough on old Leo. The craziest thing that ever happened to me was coming back from Switzerland, and a woman was standing in front of me in line to get on the plane. She turned around, and she looked at me with a disgusted look on her face. She said, "How could you cheat on your wife?" I said, "Ma'am, I've been with my wife since 1990. I've never cheated on my wife." And she says, "I'm talking about Grace." And I kind of, "Hey, Grace, you're right." She's like, "No, you cheated on her." And she was real serious about it. And it made me realize that people really believe, just like I believe that Bob Newhart was a psychiatrist and Dick Van Dyke was a writer, you know, you believe that stuff.
You guys, that Leo is such a cheater, pumpkin eater, but Connick, adorable, right? Like, you can't help but want to slice a Leo, I'm sorry, despite all his flaws. Okay, I want to talk about tonight's episode, because in my mind, this was probably one of the best physical comedy episodes, not just of Will and Grace, but in TV history, really. My God, when we saw Sean Hayes just sucking it in and magneting it up and trying to sit down in the club, like, that was everything. And also, of course, Karen and Grace in that shower, which was an homage to Lucy back in the day in 1963. They did a shower episode. That took a lot of work, but they really, I felt, knocked it out of the park. What did you think of all the physical comedy?
I love Sean's magnets, because all of the energy goes to the right places, baby.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, as long as you don't have any like heavy metal objects around, I guess the magnets work. Have you tried them? You're wearing a turtleneck.
Can you check?
Eden, what did you think about, I think a lot of people forget that it has been 11 years since the show was on the air. They really don't look like they've aged, and yet they do need to address that they're older, so they tackled that head on in this episode. What did you think about that?
I thought it was absolutely amazing. I think they all look so incredibly beautiful, and I still idolize them immensely, just like I did when I was little.
Yeah.
And frankly, I still have a crush on Will.
I mean, don't we all? He's straight in real life. Just saying. All right, to me, I think the biggest thing in this episode was the moment we had at the end where we saw Jack and Will have a moment where they were considering, are they meant to be together? I had chills up and down everywhere in places I didn't know. Okay, Antoine, what did you think? Should Jack and Will be together?
Let me think. That's a hard no.
Okay, all right.
It can't happen. What Jack and Will have is special. It's platonic. It's magical. It's what makes Will and Grace Will and Grace. Jack couldn't go on all of his special adventures if he has a boyfriend.
Right, no.
I mean, what if they break up? You know,
Right.
that could
Would
get
be
awkward.
them like sitting in bed eating popcorn, watching, I don't even know, Housewives or something. Like, I don't want to see that. I want them out of town.
Yeah.
I love them together, but I love them as friends, right? Yes?
Yeah.
I'm sure you all at home have some intense feelings as well about whether Jack and Will should be together. So make sure you hit us up at #AskWillAndGrace. And let us know what you think. Now, as a special treat, we have a sneak peek at next week's episode. It's so good, you guys. Check it out.
Introducing the new spokesperson for Wagon Bone Dog Food, Mr. Jack Line.
You know my last name, Karen?
Honey, I did ayahuasca with Shaman last night. I don't know if it's raining or Tuesday.
You really booked a commercial?
Technically, I probably booked it. They unofficially told the gal, who's basically my agent, that it's between me and approximately 3 other guys. So, it's in the bag.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We asked the actors about their crazy fan experiences. I'm gonna give you 3 options and you have to tell me which one is true. The other 2 are made up. Okay. Yes? Got it? Okay. All right, so when Eric McCormack was on our show last week, he told us about a fan who came up to him, who is someone you would never expect to be a fan of Will and Grace. So your job is to figure out who it is, okay? Was it A, a world famous director, B, a respected TV judge, or C, a retired circus clown?
So I'm gonna choose A, Hollywood director.
Okay.
Judge? B?
Okay. All right, let's watch the clip and figure it out.
We landed from New York. Megan and I were on the plane. We stood up, and I felt a touch on my shoulder, and it was Quentin Tarantino. And he was like, "Hey, man, hey, really looking forward to Thursday."
You got the point, my friend. Congratulations. All right, number 2, we have Minnie Driver, who knew that her character, Lorraine Finster, made a mark in pop culture when A, Lorraine was referenced in a Jay-Z song. Option B, Minnie ran into 2 men dressed like Lorraine. Or C, Lorraine Finster was offered a role on Real Housewives.
I'm gonna go with A.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with B, just because I know Jay-Z did mention a Lorraine, but it was Lorraine Schwartz.
Yes!
There was a couple drag queens who went as Lorraine Finster one Halloween, and it kind of went bananas. And then I ended up staying up all night, like doing Jello shots with Lorraine Finsters, who were dudes, and it was great.
Danya for the win, and you are correct. Yeah. Okay, Bobby Cannavale told someone first before anybody else that he was coming back to Will and Grace. That person was A, his psychic, B, his barber, or C, his flight attendant.
I'm gonna go with the barber.
All right, Danya, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go with psychic.
All right, check it out. Here's what Bobby told us.
On the plane over here, the flight attendant was like, "I'm not letting you back to your seat until you tell me if you're coming back to Will and Grace." And I was like, "I am, bro. I'm going right now." And I got so excited. He got so excited. We like kind of jumped up and down in the galley. So it was really funny Will and Gracie moment.
All right, so it was C, which neither of you picked. Flight attendant. Unfortunately, this means that you guys both have won. You both won. And your prize is you get to go to a live taping of Will and Grace.
Oh my God!
Congratulations, now everybody here hates you, including me. We will be back next week to talk about all of our feelings about Leo coming back, right guys? Mm-hmm. I've already booked my therapy session, I don't know about you. And make sure you hit us up and let us know what you think about Jack and Will being together. Use the hashtag AskWillAndGrace when you do, please. We will see you next week after the show. Thank you for watching. Yay!